Welcome back. With the election upon us, indulge me for a few endorsements. Now, these are my own and not representative of any network or otherwise. So let's begin with a race for governor, where two states in our region will be selecting chief executives come Tuesday. In New York, the choice is not a hard one. Rob Mastorino is a talented politician who in future elections may achieve higher office than county executive, but not this year. His conservative positions on social issues put him out of step with a significant majority of New Yorkers, and his drawn-out, mistaken approach to the housing discrimination lawsuit in his own county raised legitimate questions if he's ready for prime time today. Well, no such questions exist for Andrew Cuomo. The current governor merits 4 more years on the simple standard of his record. He's worked across party lines and has a litany of accomplishments to show for it, namely on-time budgets, gay marriage, and the SAFE Act. Now, fair questions persist over his disbandment of the Moreland Commission, the lack of his administration's transparency, and his mixed record for the middle class. At the end of the day, however, Governor Cuomo gets things done, even if it twists arms and ruffles feathers in the process. Across the border in Connecticut, the choice is again straightforward, but with more muted enthusiasm. Tom Foley has given state voters little reason to change governors. His chief argument that he's a job creator for a state in need of one is simply not matched by his record, and worse yet, his tortured logic of upending Connecticut's gun control legislation after Sandy Hook is as misinformed as it is misguided. His opponent, Governor Malloy, is the better option. Now, whether it be the handling of the aftermath of those school shootings or Superstorm Sandy and even the blizzard, he is a stable, steadying, if not inspiring figure in the face of crisis. His day-to-day record leaves many wanting, but this is one who hopes with 4 more years he can improve upon that record. This season, our region faces more competitive congressional races than normal. So let's start in Long Island's 1st District. The incumbent, Tim Bishop, once again faces spirited opposition. Lee Zeldin may be his most serious challenger yet. The Republican State Senator has mounted a credible campaign and has fairly pointed out that his Democratic opponent has a rather short list of authored legislation to show for his time in Washington. But that's not enough reason to qualify him as a better alternative. Mr. Zeldin has a curious set of ideas on how to address the realities of immigration, and his lockstep adherence to GOP policies, both fiscal and social, put him out of step with Suffolk County voters. Tim Bishop, we hope, will show more with 2 more years in Washington if voters see fit. We hope they do. To the 11th District, where the race is as bizarre as any this election cycle. Republican Michael Grimm is facing criminal indictment for allegedly cooking the books, among other things. And we've seen his threatening to throw a reporter off a balcony. He will never be confused with Jimmy Stewart and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He is an unrepentant bully with an entire storm system of troubles hanging over him. Anybody would be a better alternative than the status quo. Dominic Recchia, he barely qualifies. Despite a solid record on the city council, his bumbling campaign has hardly been inspiring. Staten Islanders, they deserve honest, albeit clumsy, every day over the caricature of what's wrong in Washington, which is embodied by one Mr. Grimm. We endorse the Democrat, Mr. Recchia. In the 18th, voters have 2 familiar faces to choose from. Nan Hayworth, she came into office embracing Tea Party mantra 6 years ago. 4 years ago, she avoided their banner. In the interim, she stood shoulder to shoulder with Republican leadership as we played Russian roulette with the debt limit. She lost her seat soon after, and now she wants it back. A talented politician she may be, but her shifting political identities give too much pause for return engagement. Sean Patrick Maloney seems more concerned with getting things done in Washington than scoring political points. It's a rare breed, and it's one that merits another term. Well, the same thing can be said for Congressman Chris Bishop. The Republican representing New York's 19th is a dying breed in D.C., a moderate Republican. Though I don't see eye to eye with Mr. Gibson on many issues, particularly social policy ones, the decorated veteran has consistently put country before party, and we certainly could use more of that in Washington today. His challenger, Sean Eldridge, he's a talented Paul with a bright future, but that future is not now. Questions of district shopping and inexperience are not unwarranted, but remember the name, because his time, I believe, will one day come. Finally, we head to Connecticut's 4th. RFL gives an enthusiastic endorsement to Jim Himes, who has been a tireless advocate for the middle class. A proponent of compromise and an informed voice on fiscal and financial matters, we could use more Jim Himes in our nation's capital. All right, when we come back, we will take a look at news making headlines in the Hudson Valley when we return.